Scene 1. Blood Betrayal. They say a moment of peace often precedes the storm. For us, that moment was the sight of Colonel James, clean-shaven, face like marble, laying out the parchment of the Treaty of Muir. Beside him stood Brahma Saraswat, our Peshwa, his eyes lit with hope, beard fluttering gently in the dry wind. And then, the crack of thunder not from the skies, but from the rifle. Talk, a single shot, then another, and another. I was not there, but the tales from the two survivors who crawled back half-dead still echo in my ears. Brahma Saraswat was struck once right through the heart. They said he fell like Bhishma on the bed of arrows, the sand beneath him darkening like dusk over the desert. 30 of our royal priest guards, dressed in saffron and white, fell with him. Not a single British guard had even cocked their rifle. The shooters were neither uniformed nor recognized. Shadows behind the dunes, perhaps, but their purpose was clear. Blood. My master, my guide, my brother in spirit Brahma Saraswat was down. Scene 2. Empire beneath the sand. The mountains of Aravalli whisper secrets only the rebel-hearted can understand. In a narrow gorge west of Muir, our Swarashtra Samrajya was breathing in silence. A nation unseen, yet fierce, a pulse hidden in stone. Here, I reside. Dashanand Singh, once just a young halt-blood royal, now a Raja of people who want expansion. Now the flame of vengeance. 70% of the treasury hidden in stone vaults, guarded by Bhil tribes and our fiercest fighters. In the caves sculpted like forts, high in the Aravalli ranges lies endless treasure taken back from British strongholds. Dashan proudly says my 3 wives, strong and resolute, raise our 5 children like lions. This isn't just resistance, this is a civilization. The British have a bounty of 200 million rupees on Dashanand Singh, and also on his Peshwa Brahma Saraswat. Dashanand's raids have grown bolder. British trains derailed in Gujarat, telegram wires cut in Malwa, supply lines raided near Ajmer. Swarashtra strike like tigers in the jungle, few in numbers but ready to hunt anything when the time is right. Swarashtra's war isn't of swords and guns, it's of Hindu independence. But Dashanand was still unaware of the wrongs that taken place in Treaty of Muir of 1885. Scene 3. Ashes in Udaipur. The desert outside Udaipur swallowed more than just the bodies of Brahma Saraswat's priests. It swallowed faith and honor. The soil was getting red because of the murdered priests, all 35 of them. Brahma Saraswat's body, riddled and pale, yet the glow of a wise man of youthful age stayed. But his half-alive body was dragged like an animal. The British, ever theatrical, played the part of victims. They claimed an unknown third party ambushed the treaty, but the sand of Muir were loyal that any white man's blood could ever be. They buried 35 priests in shallow graves, screaming for nirvana, screaming for justice against this white man's betrayal, as if history could be erased by sand. Their goal was not only to kill but to erase memory, to say the treaty never happened, the priests never arrived. Scene 4. The Kalapani March. 3 days later, in the underbelly of Delhi, Brahma was found alive but barely, chained, gagged, eyes open yet distant. His robes were torn, face burnt from the sun, but the fire in his heart, still glowing. He was going to be shipped to Kalapani, the Black Waters. A prison not just of bars, but of silence and darkness and of death and of despair. And the story spun by British tongues. That a Rajput prince from Jaisalmer, one of the Hindu fold, ordered the massacre. That he sought to curry favor with the crown by betraying Swarashtra. I did not believe it. I could not, but the people did. And belief is the sharpest weapon in any war. Scene 5. The Fury of the Rebel King. On June 3, 1885, Dashanand unsheathed not a sword but a fire. To hell with diplomacy, I roared before the 500-strong soldiers of Dashanand's army. To Jaisalmer we march. The fortress walls of the Golden City shimmered under the sun, but beneath that beauty was cowardice if the prince truly betrayed us. A siege took place around the palace. 500-strong soldiers of Swarashtra cornered the fort of Jaisalmer. Dakhsund signing letters for the Prince of Jaisalmer to surrender or the fall of the fort is inevitable. Bhil warriors began disrupting the Jaisalmer British supply caravans, supply lines being cut. Jaisalmer fort tightened under the Swarashtra grip, but remember, it's the first time Swarashtra's guerrilla warriors are out in the open. The cities of Jaisalmer in shock, the bazaars were closed, and commoners in despair. Why are two Hindu powers attacking each other? Is this the same tactic once used by Turkic sultans in early 13th century? The same this Aurangzeb did against Shivaji. The same thing Akbar did against Maharaja. But why is this happening? The Hindu ethos had only recently started to feel somewhat free under Zoroastra and invisible support from other Hindu princely states, cried wise men of Jaisalmer in towns and cities. And it was going to be 1666 again. Hindus pitted against Hindus, war of self-destruction for Hindu civilization. And people of Jaisalmer had almost accepted a repeat of the past mistakes in 1885 as well. Ready for centuries of subordination under British supremacy. Scene 6, Letters from Kalapani. It's been a month of siege, and Jaisalmer guards were dry on their fort walls. Rajputs of Jaisalmer looking down from their forts to their Muari brethren, ready to put a sword upon them. The pain was grave. Proud Jaisalmer prince couldn't understand what to do. He tried to convince it wasn't his actions that caused the vanishing of Peshwa Brahma Saraswat, but British conspiracy was much smarter. They had kept meeting in a place of dispute between Muir and Jaisalmer princely stays of Rajputana, and Jaisalmer's words of praise for the British had already made them less respected in the hearts of Hindu nationalist princely states like Muir and Saurashtra Samrajya. But maybe gods did not want Hindus to bleed like they had once did in previous centuries. One night, amidst the dunes, a rider came. His hands bled, his lips cracked, but his eyes held a letter. It was from Brahma. Dashanan, it read, my body is caged, but my will flies with the falcon. Do not waste your sword on Jaisalmer, the traitor is deeper. Embedded within the empire's veins, he spoke of a man Sir Reginald Creighton, a British intelligence who hired Afghan Pathan assassins who posed as a neutral envoy but orchestrated the assassination attempt of Brahma Saraswat. Jaisalmer's prince had been framed, or worse manipulated, and I had unleashed a war without confirming the truth, erupted Dashanand in anger. I felt the weight of it, not just the guilt but the history. Scene 7, a new warpath, the attack on Jaisalmer paused. Dashanand ordered spies to dig into the depths of the empire, and what they found changed the path of the war. Sir Reginald was forming a new unit, the Sand Vultures. Elite Afghan Pathan mercenaries loyal to the crown, trained to infiltrate rebellions. He planned to use neighboring brethren of India to kill Indian hopes. Dashanand called an emergency council at the Aravalli stronghold. 37 leaders from across Saurashtra Maratha commanders, Jain monks, Bhil chieftains, gathered in silence. We must unite, or we perish individually, declared Dashanand. A shadow pact was formed between all Hindu powers of India, a secret alliance of regional resistances, with one purpose, to kill the vultures before they take flight. Scene 8, the fire rises in the south. News reached us from the south. A rebellion in Madurai had taken British officers hostage, their leader, a woman Kavya Sundaran of the temple order of sacred Shiva temples of Madurai. She demanded Brahma Saraswat's release and declared herself part of Saurashtra Samrajya. From a mountain hideout in Rajasthan, Saurashtra fire had reached Tamil soil was the news across British press. British officers were losing themselves over this news. It was chaotic for British Raj. Dashanand sent her a letter sealed in crimson wax. We are not separate fires. We are the same sun. Let us rise. Kavya responded with a map routes of British ammunition trains in Andhra. We are planning on coordinating a triple strike, Aravalli, Madurai, and Vindhya Hills, to loosen the grip of British in Andhra and Tamilkam regions. Kavya had an army of around 1,200 priestesses of Temple of Madurai and quite a following amongst the Madurai region. Scene 8, Alliance of the Nation. Dashanand was very highly impressed by Kavya Sundaran's attempts to make a great empire combined, and he till now had married 3 wives, all pure Rajput women of humble origins. But now this was a chance to unite the sacred kingdoms of Saurashtra Samrajya and Madurai Shiva Temple, a sacred union. Dashanand asked Kavya's hand for marriage and a beautifully written poem in Sanskrit. To unite the whole Bharat in the language the Veds and Purans were uttered. It compared his relation with Kavya as of sun and moon, as of Shiva and Parvati, as of Ram and Sita,